Penguin Audio presents Acedia Me, A Marriage, Monks, and a Writer's Life, written and read by Kathleen Norris. Author's Note: several themes are threaded throughout this book: the much maligned doctrine of sin, the question of whether acedia may be equated with depression, the implications of believing that human beings are made in the image of God, the psychological insights to be found in monastic literature and practice, and the meaning of marriage and motherhood. My hope is that each time I raise these subjects, I am enhancing the reader's understanding of them. Some passages in Acedia Me come from an address I wrote at the invitation of the Sisters of the Holy Cross, who asked me to talk to college women about how traditional monastic wisdom might be of use to them today. Working on this talk, eventually published as a chapbook, The Quotidian Mysteries, Laundry, Liturgy, and Women's Work, convinced me that I needed to write a longer meditation on the subject of acedia. The word and the concept have fascinated me since I first encountered them many years ago in a monastery library. The words Abba and Amma were titles of respect employed by the early monastics of Egypt, Syria, Palestine, and Asia Minor to designate elders, fathers, and mothers who had attained wisdom in the spiritual life and could offer good counsel. From the 4th century monk Evagrius Ponticus, the Practicos. The demon of acedia, also called the noonday demon, is the one that causes the most serious trouble of all. He presses his attack upon the monk about the 4th hour and besieges the soul until the 8th hour. First of all, he makes it seem that the sun barely moves, if at all, and that the day is 50 hours long. Then he constrains the monk to look constantly out the windows, to walk outside the cell, to gaze carefully at the sun to determine how far it stands from the 9th hour, or lunchtime, to look this way and now that, to see if perhaps one of the brethren appears from his cell. Then, too, he instills in the heart of the monk a hatred for the place, a hatred for his very life itself, a hatred for manual labor. He leads him to reflect that charity has departed from among the brethren, that there is no one to give encouragement. Should there be someone at this period who happens to offend him in some way or other, this too the demon uses to contribute further to his hatred. This demon drives him along to desire other sites where he can more easily procure life's necessities, more readily find work, and make a real success of himself. He goes on to suggest that after all it is not the place that is the basis of pleasing the Lord. God is to be adored everywhere. He joins to these reflections the memory of his dear ones and of his former way of life. He depicts life stretching out for a long period of time and brings before the mind's eye the toil of the ascetic struggle, and, as the saying has it, leaves no leaf unturned to induce the monk to forsake his cell and drop out of the fight. No other demon follows close upon the heels of this one when he is defeated, but only a state of deep peace and inexpressible joy arise out of this struggle. Chapter 1. Somewhere. One of the best stories I know is found in the Institutes by John Cassian, a monk who was born in the 4th century. Cassian speaks of Abba Paul, who, like many desert monks, wove baskets as he prayed and subsisted on food from his garden and a few date palms. Unlike monks who lived closer to cities and could sell their baskets there, Paul could not do any other work to support himself because his dwelling was separated from towns and from habitable land by a 7 days' journey through the desert, and transportation cost more than he could get for the work that he did. He used to collect palm fronds and always exact a day's labor from himself, just as if this were his means of support. And when his cave was filled with a whole year's work, he would burn up what he had so carefully toiled over each year. Does Abba Paul epitomize the dutiful monk who recognizes that the prayers he recites during his labors are of more value than anything he can make? Or is he the patron saint of performance art, methodically destroying the baskets he has woven to
Sample complete. Ready to continue?